Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Thunder Alley here. Tonight we're going to be reacting to the team's massive win on the road against the Atlanta Falcons today. Boy, did the defense come to play, held them to 13 points. I mean, do you guys realize how impressive it is to hold a team coming off of a bye, a team that has as much firepower as the Falcons, just 13 points in their own building? How do they do it? It's simple. Pressure, putting it all over Kirk Cousins. 4 interceptions. Yes, the secondary was very, very good today. We'll get into it in a second here. But it starts with the line of scrimmage, and the Chargers just dominated it today. At least on defense. Offensively, Herbert was sacked 5 times. Like I said, we'll get into everything. But the rush for the Chargers played well. They also didn't give up much on the ground. 116 yards, but on 37 carries, 3.1 average, which is great. Just 1 touchdown on Bijan Robinson, who was under 4 yards per carry as well. 15 long. That's going to get it done. You're going to beat the Falcons pretty much every single time if you're able to limit their run game like that. But I think that my thing for the Chargers is that their defensive backs are just not known. Unless you're a Chargers fan, like a diehard Chargers fan, you're not going to more than likely know who Tarheeb Still is, who had 2 interceptions. He also had that play on 3rd and long and Drake London to prevent that catch. If that ball is caught, the Chargers might lose this game. He made multiple other plays as well. Marcus May was signed after being released by the Dolphins. He had an interception in the end zone, and then Derwin James in the final play of the game capped off his best game of the season. So the secondary balled out. The linebackers played well. Everyone on defense played well. I'm just going to put it that way, man. It was the best defensive performance of the season without question. A lot of people like to bring up the fact, and it is a fact, so it's fair, that the Chargers don't play winning teams well. Well, they just beat one on the road off a bye. They were coming off of theirs. Remember, the Chargers had their early bye back on the first quarter of the season, so I'm very impressed with the defense. I mean, 245 yards and 39 attempts is so good. 40 rating. This has got to be the worst game of Kirk Cousins' career. I mean, remember 2 years ago he had a game with 3 picks, but not this bad. 4 picks, 0 touchdowns. Obviously, it doesn't give you much mobility, just 3 yards rushing. So, I mean, wow, the defense, Jesse Minner, he's come over, and you have to give credit to, of course, Harbaugh as well. These guys are crushing it. Drake London had 86 yards. McLeod, looking at 60 of his 95, came in 1 catch. So that had to get cleaned up. Still actually went for the deflection on that. That was his one mistake of the game. Robinson, 33 yards. And Bijan had a really good game, but no one else did much. And I cannot stress it enough. This defense looks playoff ready. The Chargers defensively were not great against the Ravens last week, but it's sort of similar to the Broncos. Their one bad game this year defensively was against the Ravens. The Chargers hopefully don't have to play the Ravens again this year unless it's in the AFC Championship. Then that would be fine. But last season, Chargers are one of the worst defenses. Really, every single season under Brandon Staley, they had one of the worst defenses. So I cannot stress enough of how impressed I am with how it's playing and encouraged as well. Just to see Derwin have the best game of his season makes me happy. I love Derwin James. But now we've got to get into the offense because the offense was not good. It was flat out just bad. Everyone outside of Ladd McConkey basically did nothing in this game. Now, Justin Herbert, you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. 16 to 23, a buck 47, but he was under pressure the entire game. So what was he really supposed to do? The Falcons don't rush the quarterback well, but you would have thought they were the Ravens from last season, the way they were getting after the quarterback. It was unbelievable, man. And then the run game. No J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards goes 6 for 32, which is good. Efficiency, 5.3, but he doesn't find the end zone. Kamani Vidal, 16 of his 20 yards were on 1 carry. He did have 5 yards per carry, but 16 of those 20 were on 1 carry. Darius Davis had a run for 3 yards, and they did try to get it out to Davis, a swing pass, but there was nothing offensively. The defense, remember, 7 of these 17 points came off of a pick 6 by Still. So the offense, this is a second straight game. It's been unimpressive to me, and I think what it comes down to is, for one, the offensive line was just flat out bad. It just all over. It just was not a good performance. But there's also just not enough playmakers on this offense. Ladd McConkey, and I don't want to continue to toot my own horn, but I said at the beginning of the season he would be the wide receiver 1. I got so much hate from Chargers fans. I still don't understand why. McConkey's legit. I thought he should have been a first-round pick. He's a stud. The Chargers end up moving up to get him. And now you guys are seeing how good he is. And I didn't think he'd be this good. I mean, he legit looks like he's going to be a future superstar. But I knew he'd be the wide receiver 1, clearly the most talented in this realm. But Ladd McConkey, I'm like, give him some help. You guys know that meme where it's like a Lamborghini at one of those, what's the home called? Like those homes that you could put on the move or something. Like, that's basically Ladd McConkey in this offense. J.K. Dobbins is out. He's actually on the IR now, so there's just no playmakers. Quentin Johnston Yeah, he's had some touchdowns this season. He's had some good catches. But, guys, it's Quentin Johnson. He's not a wide receiver, too. And then Josh Palmer, 1 for 11. I believe Palmer actually caught that 2-point conversion. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a great catch. A even better ball by Herbert. But that's the reason why I don't think the Chargers can legitimately win the Super Bowl. And sure, they've got a chance because of this defense and Justin Herbert, but I don't think they can beat the top teams, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, because they don't have playmakers. Like, you want to beat those teams, you need guys that can get open down the field. We've seen Patrick Mahomes legitimately struggle this season because he's without Hollywood Brown, and of course he's without Rashee Rice, the second-year receiver. And Herbert, I mean, obviously he's played a lot better than Mahomes this season with less talent, but that's the thing is, Herbert needs some help. Not only did he not have guys getting open besides McConkey, but he wasn't being protected. So it makes sense why the offense was bad. And this run offense is getting me really frustrated. I mean, I'm trying to I've honestly had a pretty bad, I've had like a mixed day. I'm not going to say a bad day. I've had a mixed day. The Chargers won, so I'm happy, but some things going on. Obviously, we've got lives outside of football. But just seeing like the Chargers not be able to run the ball is extremely frustrating because think of the potential. Think of the potential of the Chargers with a run game, with some weapons. They'd be the best team in the NFL, but they don't have that. It's year one of Harbaugh. Don't get me wrong. I'm being really, really cautious because I don't think anybody thought the Chargers would win it all in year one. But I do think moving forward, this team, it's only going to get better and better. But right now, they're going to be a tough out. I mean, if the playoffs started today, which they don't, it would be the Chargers against the Steelers. And the Bengals just played the Steelers. It was a shootout, but that's not going to happen against the Chargers, right? Nobody, like the Ravens is the one sort of outlier that this season got the better of the Chargers. But the Chargers aren't going to have to worry about the Ravens until the second or the third round. So, like, you get the Steelers, the Texans, you could beat those teams. But you got to be able to run the ball. Because we saw the Texans, for example, against the Ravens in the second round last season, and the Texans couldn't run the ball. And it was close in the first half because of the Texans defense, but second half, the Ravens just steamrolled them. So there's a lot of work to do. Obviously, we're not trying to get complacent, but being 8-4, it's very, very difficult to complain about that, if I'm being honest. That's the best thing we could have asked for. And certainly the Chargers let a couple of games get away from them, like Arizona, Kansas City being up 10 points in that game. So tied going into the fourth of the Steelers game. But what's next for the Chargers? They are going to be playing at Kansas City next week in Arrowhead. And then they're going to be at home against the Bucs, at home against Denver, at New England, at Las Vegas. So legitimately, obviously you can't just look at it and be like, oh, Patriots and Raiders, they're tanking. Last two games, check those off as wins. No, that's not how the NFL works. You can get beat by anyone, as we found out this year. The Chargers, even when they've been really good, they've lost to some bad teams. It's cost them, man. But this is a great opportunity is what I'm trying to get at. Kansas City, it's a coin flip to me. If there's going to be one team that the Chiefs should fear, it's the Chargers just because of their defense, and they're not scared. And they've got a coach who's one of the best coaches in both college and in the NFL. So I know he's still trying to get that Super Bowl, man. But the Chargers just do not fear the Chiefs. Like, they'll go in there, and they always play them well. And also, Travis Kelce's always killed the Chargers. He's not the same Travis Kelce this season, so I think they'll be able to neutralize him. It's going to be fun, especially with the way Derwin played today. This secondary is just going to be flying around, making it tough on Mahomes. And Tampa Bay, Denver, those are games you got to win. It's as simple as that. Yes, they're good, talented teams with their playoff hopes on the line, but you've got to win those games. So the Chargers, they can make some serious noise. I mean, the Texans just don't look good right now. But they're the 4 seed only because they own the AFC South. Man, it's just the Texans' only reason they even won today was because of a dirty hit by former Niner Azeez Al-Shire on T-Law. If he doesn't get injured, they probably win that game. So I just can't stand the Texans. But to be honest with you guys, the Chargers at 8-4. I mean, if they can get up to the 5th seed, that'd probably be the best case to get Houston. It would be in Houston. But if the Chargers can get the first round going on the road at Houston, I think they'd love their odds. It's a perfect matchup for the Chargers, if I'm being honest. Let me know if you guys agree or you disagree.